Hey, sweet souls. Welcome back to Conscious Lifestyle Coaching. My name is Raileigh Easterling. I'll be coming live on here on YouTube and on Instagram about twice a week. So if you catch me in a live, this will be the opportunity to ask questions and engage with me. I mentioned in the Instagram live that by the time I'm posting videos and you guys are commenting, I don't have the energy or time to sit there and be present and really give you a thoughtful answer. So in these lives, this will be the space. I'm really excited for people to come back in and to have these conversations. Hopefully in the future, they won't be so late. But in today's message, we're going to talk about experiential entrepreneurship, which has been big focus of mine in my life. And I'm just walking this journey with you all, sharing some strategies. So if this message is for you, then we're going to talk about how to strategically navigate your business goals at this time with consciousness. So if you're listening now or later, let me know who you are and where you're listening in from. Feel free to ask questions at any time, even if it doesn't relate exactly to the topic. But hello. And again, I look forward to growing these lives. So if you're on the entrepreneur path with me, I pray that these messages have been helpful for you to stay focused and to stay aligned, stay motivated and uplifted on this journey. And I've been committed to show up. And along with that commitment of being a business owner, you have to start somewhere with sharing your message with the world. So first having clarity on what your vision is, and then having the confidence to go ahead and speak it not only in your life, but to come out here and to share the messages. On top of marketing your own vision and sharing who you are with the world, you're also building products. There's so much you're doing. You're building websites, you're writing books, you're trying to navigate family life, take care of your health, and it becomes too much. And that's why a lot of people don't want to be on the entrepreneur path, because we're working overtime. We're working more hours than most people would if we were working like a 9-to-5 job at a corporation. And if you're listening again, hello, feel free to ask questions. Let me know who you are. And I welcome you to the Phoenix portal. So ask me anything. This is the time. But until you guys start asking questions, I'm just going to talk about remaining in our peace. And if you're an entrepreneur like me, my advice to you this evening is make the choices that are going to calm your nervous system. So even if you have 1,000 things to do, still make the choices that are going to bring you peace in your body. And that's very anti the productivity that is calling from us, especially with this energy right now. It's extremely fiery. So if you have been on the visionary path for a while, it is so clear to you how you know you need to move, how the God is directing you. And so with that clarity comes the motivation and the passion. But we have to channel that energy in a very strategic way so that we don't overwork ourselves. And when you're self-employed, when you're building your own pathway through a career, it's up to you to decide how things are navigated throughout the day. So even if you're on the professional path with me as an entrepreneur, please take time to breathe and do some yoga and meditate. And that's the beautiful thing about being able to create a life for ourselves and to build this dream life that God has given us, is that we have the opportunities to take time at home or wherever we are to come back into the body. And I want to encourage you to do that more often. That should be your primary energy, even if you're building from the ground up, even if you have 1,000 things to do. Still choosing to take time between you and the divine to listen. Because all that energy that is spent in the worry and the overproductivity and stressing that gets trapped in our body, we're able to release it. We're able to cut right through all that noise when we take time away from what we think we need to do. And that's very counterintuitive to how capitalistic systems want us to operate. So if you're working at a business or a restaurant or something else that you didn't create it for yourself, and you're working on the clock, then you don't feel that you can really take time away to go for a walk, to go pray, to do some yoga, get on your mat, go make a smoothie. You don't have that freedom because you're worried, oh, what if my supervisor, what if my boss sees that I'm not working on the clock? Or if I don't meet these standards in my business, I'm going to get fired. And then my whole life's going to fall apart. I'm not going to be able to pay my rent or my car. So this is why I'm talking about the entrepreneur path. And I know it might get annoying to people who maybe you don't have a vision yet and you don't care about building your own business, but everyone deserves this freedom to be able to choose to take a moment to heal and to be with our bodies, to be with our family, to go into nature, to pray whenever we want. And that's the life that I'm building, and I'm here to take as many people with me as I can. Conscious Lifestyle Coaching will not always talk about building business. So if you're in this season with me, I pray that it aligns and that we can work together if that calls to you. And if you're here, welcome to the Phoenix Portal. I'm going to talk about spiritual entrepreneurship and remaining calm in our nervous system, but feel free to ask any questions in the lives in the Phoenix Portal. This is time for you guys. I'm here at service to you. So please come say hello and let me know how you're doing and who you are. I can't wait to hear from you all as we get more comfortable with each other. So talking again about being more present in our lives and the freedom that we have to choose. Hello, Grapevine. Nice to meet you. And feel free to ask any question, join the conversation. I'd love to hear what it is you are envisioning for your life at this time. And I'd love to share some advice, or maybe you can share advice with the community. This is your time also to share your prayers, to share your hope, share testimony with the people who are a part of this channel. And just thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to take a break and hopefully more people can come in. And I just want to share a message from my book, Phoenix Medicines. So Conscious Lifestyle Coaching was birthed from my passion of writing. And this is a Q&A, and I'm not a reader. A lot of people think that I'm a psychic reader. I'm a writer. So those cards that you might be watching on their channels with people reading tarot and oracle cards, I make those. I'm the person who writes messages like that. So people who book sessions with me, I write you a personalized oracle deck. Basically, it's completely tailored to your spirit that I go into my guidance team and work with. So I want to share this with you just in case you're someone who wants to be a creative like that, whether you're passionate about writing or just spiritual products. This is a whole industry that I am finding, the more I dive into it, is extremely abundant, extremely prosperous, very much thriving, and very much needed. So I never thought that my gifts would take me to where I am and the doors that are opening. And so if that's you, if you're spiritually motivated and inclined, you're passionate about spiritual healing, there's so many pathways you can take to build a really abundant, prosperous career for yourself. So I hope these messages lately have been inspiring you. Hello, Isaiah. I recognize you. Thank you for leaving your comments. Yes, God does love us all. And my messages on here are to remind myself and to remind you of that love. And I pray you receive it. Even if you can feel my nervousness. I mean, I'm sweating right now. I get nervous getting on lives, but I do it ultimately because my purpose, my divine purpose in this life is to be a messenger, to be an oracle, to be a prophet to you. And that's my full-time career at this time in my life. And it will continue to build upon that. So if that's you, if you also have the call of divination, of prophecy, this is the time now to commit yourself, to build on this vision and to build a career, build a business that can be received by the world. And always talk about grounding the spiritual downloads you receive into products. So I'm gonna pull, not pull, but it's an oracle book. So I'm gonna flip to a random chapter and share the message with you all today. But Grapevine asked, what was the catalyst for my spiritual journey? I love that you asked that question. So as a young adult, I always knew that I was a healer. Well, ever since I was born, I was someone who was at the bedside of people who were very sick, or being birthed into a family where people struggled mentally. I was always kind of the light for people. I was a caregiver. I have a very compassionate soul, just something God has given me. And so, wanting a successful identity in this 3D world, I thought I had to be a doctor. So I was on the medical school path. I got a scholarship. I was doing well, but my body was breaking down. The stress, I was not handling it well, even though I had the intellect to be able to be a doctor. Spirit started speaking to me at that point. So knowing that I had to heal, how could I become a doctor or a therapist and help other people heal if I was suffering? So that's when I started diving into alternative healing. I opened my mind. I used plant medicines. I was in college at the time. But yoga for me was really the most powerful awakening that I had when, growing up in trauma and being at service of people who needed healing. And then finally having space for myself to heal and to breathe deeply and to send oxygen to my brain and to my body. It opened me wide up in my third eye. I felt this joy and peace take over my body like I've never had before. And I grew up in church. I was very religious up until my 20s, grew up Catholic. But at that time, feeling the embodiment of the Holy Spirit absolutely changed my life. And I started meditating. And in my meditations, that is when I started connecting with my spiritual guidance. And I would receive visions from my spiritual team. I was always very into esoteric things ever since I was a kid. I was very much a seer. I could see spirits. And through the meditations, Spirit started speaking to me about who I was, showing me visions of my life. And it was time to let go of that scholarship and to walk away from medical school, which was very hard as an ethnic woman to tell my grandmothers that I wasn't going to be a doctor anymore. And that I was going to go move to the mountains and meditate and get certified in yoga, maybe become an Ayurvedic practitioner, which is still one of my goals in life. I wanted to study herbs. I wanted to study martial arts. I wanted to dive into absolutely every world global healing I could get my hands on. And that's still who I am today. Every time I have an opportunity, I am learning in a new community, reaching out to new mentors, learning about how people are healing, connecting with God from around the world. But it was first that yoga. It was just deeply breathing, which is my reminder for you all. As you build your vision as an entrepreneur on the spiritual path, you have to continue all the spiritual practices, no matter how busy you get, no matter how much you start actualizing those visions and become extremely successful. We have to return back to the medicines that originally reached out to us, because that's part of our soul medicine. So I hope that helped. Really, it was mental health and physical disease that made me look at my life and have to make choices. And that's where I like to meet people on the spiritual path, is the crossroad of how much longer are you going to tolerate self-destruction? And are you willing to be present with someone like me to sit down and ask those questions? And once we have the awareness of the choices that we are making, that's when we can shift and pivot and put ourselves on a different path in life. And that takes so much courage and so much faith and so much trust in the universe. I had no idea that letting go of an amazing opportunity of having an opportunity to get into medical school, going into college, and I just walked away from it. I let it go. Just following this spiritual vision of that I was supposed to help people around the world build sacred spaces for prayer and transformation. That was wild. I didn't know what shamanism was. I started reading books on shamanic journeys and quests and um, speaking with spirit and nature, and that was totally anti who I thought I had to be. Yeah, it is brave, but we all have those moments every single day to be a little bit more courageous, to be ourselves. And I'm so glad I made that decision because it took 3 years later where I started working with companies and clients and them telling me, you helped me heal so much. That's all I ever needed to hear from God, to be affirmed by God that, okay, I'm not a physical doctor, but I am a doctor of the spirit. And we're allowed to expand our identity. So I hope that helps. Feel free to ask any more questions, and I appreciate you speaking with me. I'm going to take a moment to share just a random chapter from Phoenix Medicine's My Oracle book, and I hope it resonates. Okay. So the chapter is Abundance. So I'm going to read it to you. While the old falls away, sometimes we cannot see yet what new blessings are in store for us. This is the most scary and uncomfortable part about growth and change, and exactly why it takes courage, risk, and absolute faith. If you're feeling a sense of anxiety or worry about your present experience not fulfilling you, if you feel an absence of your true desires, I urge you to open your perception to the abundance that prevails around you right now, in this very moment. In what ways are you receiving abundance right now that you are not aware of? In what ways is life providing you with more than you need? How does abundance manifest in your life in ways beyond monetary and material things? The pathway to true abundance you desire resides in gratitude and acceptance of where you are right now. If you are entirely focused on what is lacking in your life, your awareness will continue to perceive more lack. You must tune in to a different vibration and wavelength of perception in order to transmute your experience of lack to that of abundance. If you're lacking money, focus your intention on the abundance of family that surrounds you and supports you. If you're lacking joy, focus your intention on the abundance of beauty of the earth around you. If you're lacking peace, focus your intention on the inner stillness and calm of your breath and invite more laughter into your day. If you're lacking health, focus your intention on everything else in your life that sustains, nourishes, and protects you. Whatever you focus on grows. You are worthy of everything you desire to manifest in your life, but remember that the sooner you lay back, trust, and enjoy the journey it takes to get there, the faster your needs will materialize, almost always when you least expect it. Everything happens in perfect divine timing. If you don't get what you want, then you gain something to learn from. If you are fraught with worry about your future at every second, well, then you may just be missing out your entire life of the beauty of what has been there for you the whole time. And where is the fun and joy in that? So that chapter is from Abundance. And this oracle book was written really after I chose to walk away from that professional identity and was entering a new one. And entering the new identity that the divine has spoken to me and may be speaking to you, it's not a pathway that you may have ever heard of. You may not actually think it exists yet. I didn't know. I didn't know that there's actually a whole industry of professionals around the world who are renowned authors and speakers and healers, that spiritual wisdom and knowledge is actually very heavily sought by human beings. And it makes sense. But I didn't know that walking out of one identity into the space of a new one, that's often when you're completely blind and you have to continue to walk through this door anyway. And you do it, you stay grounded, again, by going into the body and being present. Our body is our wisdom keeper that's going to tell you that it's time to make a decision. So if you are in pain, this is how you know that something needs to shift in your life. If you are physically breaking down, you are not honoring the divine purpose that God has in your life. And That is a sacrifice I chose to make young. I'm glad I did it. And I remember my colleagues telling me, who were in the scholarship I had, that how lucky I was to have been so brave to make that choice, because they're very unhappy and very much in debt, which I don't have. So what is it to you today that you know is calling you back to come into presence, whether that's with your body or to sit in your mind, whatever it is? What are you running away from within? And that's going to point you in the direction of exactly where God wants you to go next. And just not having to work so hard. I mentioned in the beginning of the video that being an entrepreneur, we do work many, many more hours than people have when they work for someone else. But we don't count the hours. We don't care, because we are in love with every moment. I am in love with this opportunity I have to be speaking with you, whoever's listening now and who's listening later. I absolutely love this career, and as I've entered it, as I become more present with it, and I let go of the fears and the shame, the anxieties of the voices that tell me it is untrue, it is not real, it is not possible to live in the vision that God has given me. But the more I'm present with it and I sit with it, I breathe through it, and I get through alive with two people listening, the more God shows me what is possible, the more the steps are revealed, and what was once misty and foggy becomes just a whole new garden to explore, a whole new world. And it's a very beautiful world I want to be a part of. I want to perceive my world as beautiful. I want to perceive my life and what's happening around me as full of healing and miracle and love. And if that's not your perceptions, if that's not how you're feeling, then what is it you need to do to make the choice to walk into a new dimension? Because it is possible, and it's calling to you right now. And it is money, it is finances that holds a lot of people back from living and walking in faith. And this is why, even though I'm highly spiritual, I'm young, why should you be listening to me? Conscious Lifestyle Coaching, why am I talking about business all the time? Because financial health is so important. And it's a part of the spiritual journey too. The divine God source wants you to live in abundance. That is the natural state. But it's an illusion we all get caught up in, that we have to be suffering. And sometimes it's not money we need, sometimes it's a wealth of other resources. But if you have the technology to be on YouTube all the time, if you're on social media, if you're living in America or a developed world, we have the responsibility with the resources and the wealth we do have to be building and cultivating our prosperity, to protect the earth, to protect other people, to uplift the spirit of everyone we can. That is why I get on here. I'm not trying to just fill my wallet because I enjoy just putting myself out here. It's because there's so many people in my lineage, in my life, that I wanted to take care of. And I couldn't take care of people if I was suffering, if I was mentally ill, if I was physically not okay. So expanding our heart to know that we are worthy of the abundance and the prosperity that's trying to come in through the vision, through the purpose, so we can take care of what we care about. And that's why we do this. That's why we show up, even in the discomfort. So taking a deep breath. And I hope you enjoyed a little chapter from Phoenix Medicines. But if you're here, feel free to ask more questions. It helps me stay on the live longer. And if you have a message to share, if you want to speak something in this live for other people to listen to, I'd love to read it. We need people to share hope. And I'm not the only voice out here. I know a lot of you who listen have your own operations going, your own channels. But we meet here and we connect in order to affirm, to keep each other going. This is a community. It is very much alive and thriving, even if we're not face to face. This is very important, this connection we have. So if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to get ready to end the live. And my final message to you is find some time to deeply breathe. The ego is going to want to come in and convince you to overwork yourself, even if you're living in the new dimension, the new life, your life purpose. The ego is going to come in and try to convince you to go back to that self-destructive, bad habits, stressed out, anxious person, so that you hate your mission, that you turn away from God. That would be a very good trick of the enemy. So don't let that be you. Come back into your body, take deep breaths, do some yoga. If you need inspiration to get into some yoga, I'm a certified teacher. Tiffany Solbird, hello. Nice to see you. I know you went on a journey while I was journeying, but I'm out here at the surface again, and I pray that things in your life are very beautiful and settling for you. If not, please let me know. Check in, write me an email. Grapevine said, being a healer, it's very important to remain strong energetically and have physical boundaries. Absolutely. How do we monitor our energetic health? We have to meditate. We have to be present. We have to walk away from the things we think we need to be doing as much as possible. We can just be in peace and silence for the most part. Most of our day can be dedicated to simple pleasures, to joy. The world stole that from us, where we can't be present with ourselves and people we love, and to enjoy the earth's abundance. But when you go back into meditation, when you get disciplined, back into your prayer time, into your self-care time, whatever your rituals are, get back into it, amplify it a little bit more, and then boom, it takes a fraction of a second for God to speak to you. You make a strategic move, and it amplifies, it explodes in your life, versus the hours upon hours and days and weeks that you spent stressing and trying to think your way to a solution. Let God do that work. But you have to allow space for God to speak to you. Physical boundaries, absolutely. The more you dive into this physical path, the more you enjoy just being with yourself, being in your body. And that helps you discern who it is that honors and regards your body, your life, your vision as just as sacred as you regard yourself, because they also regard their bodies, their minds as holy and sacred. And when you're in that space as a creative, as a business owner, you have to take more and more and more time to be in your own energy. You have to learn to like yourself a lot. If you're like me and you're a speaker, you have to learn to look at yourself on a video camera, hear your voice every single day, to take criticism from people, be okay with it, let it go. Absolutely. All right, it's almost been 30 minutes and my voice already is leaving me. So I'm going to be ending this live shortly, but just want to thank you if you've been in this chat for spending some time with me this evening. And I pray these messages continue to help you. And just reminding you that if you choose the path, if you choose this identity, you can be a very intelligent, strategic, wise business owner. Everyone has that birthright. Everyone has that freedom to design their life in that way. Everyone has a soul gift that you can be sharing with the world that's going to bring you abundance and prosperity and the time to heal. You deserve time to heal. You deserve time to enjoy the gifts of life. You have to make that time. You have to stretch it out. Literally, go stretch. Sit with your body. And let the worries fall off. Let things fall away from your life that you think are so serious. Watch it leave, and then watch more come in that is actually from God. So that's the message. Thank you so much for being here with me. Peace and love to you. I'll see you in the next live. Hopefully you can catch the next one if you're watching later. Come in with questions, and I'll see you guys then. So peace and love to you. Have a beautiful morning or night whenever you watch this. Yes, Tiffany says it's worthwhile to actually care for oneself. Always is. It always is. It is never a bad investment to care for yourself. So have a beautiful rest of your time. Good night or good morning. Take care.